strategic encouragement and European infrastructure, shipping and security and investment. And that requires something more systematic than some summit diplomacy. I would like to see Greece develop a permanent Eastern Mediterranean project pipeline across these formats. Every year, Athens should know which 10 or 20 strategic projects it wants to move forward with Israel, Cyprus, Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, and the United States. Some will fail, some will take 10 years, some will never become commercially viable. But that is normal. What we should keep in mind that there should always be another project behind them. There should also be a much stronger connection between Greek foreign policy and Greek business. Every important regional diplomatic mechanism should have an economic mechanism attached to it. Every summit should have measurable follow up. Every major infrastructure discussion should involve potential investors and companies early enough that governments understand whether what they're discussing is economically realistic. And Greece should use its EU position much more aggressively, not aggressively against anyone, but aggressively in favor of its own strategic vision. If Greece believes that the Eastern Mediterranean should become a region of stable borders, international law, energy connectivity, secure maritime routes, and economic cooperation, then Greece should be bringing the projects that make that vision physically real into Brussels, Washington, and regional capitals. Because the strongest answer to instability is not another statement about stability, it is creating so many economic, energy security, and institutional connections among countries that stability itself acquires economic value. And this is where Greece can think much bigger. And this is exactly why I wanted to start the pre launch of season 7 here, not with another discussion about the crisis of the week, not with another attempt to predict what one leader will say tomorrow morning, but with the question of what kind of Eastern Mediterranean we actually want to exist 10 or 20 years from now, and what Greece is doing today to help create it. The Greece, Cyprus, Israel plus United States 3 plus 1 has created political and security institutionalization, US legislative backing, military training funding, interparliamentary dimensions, and now the Eastern Mediterranean Energy Center. The Greece, Cyprus, Egypt framework has moved further into operational defense cooperation and potentially transformative energy infrastructure. The Greece Cyprus Jordan trilateral has created a permanent political framework and cooperation across security, water, education, civil protection. And Lebanon should be part of what comes next, not simply politically, but through energy, ports, shipping, logistics, education, universities, technology, investment, and actual economic relationships. Because, as I said at the beginning, sitting quietly and following trends does not really pay off. Greece is not geographically sitting somewhere outside these events watching them happen. We are in the middle of them. We are at the crossroads of Europe, Asia, and Africa, and we are part of a maritime region whose importance in energy, trade, security, and global connectivity is only going to increase. So the question should not be whether Greece will be affected by what happens in the Eastern Mediterranean. Of course it will. The question is how much Greece will participate in shaping what happens in the Eastern Mediterranean. And for that, what we already do should become thousandfold in scale and rate. More projects, more investment, more infrastructure, more economic integration, more security cooperation, more connections between our companies, universities, and societies, more countries brought into a regional architecture in which cooperation pays better than confrontation and international law pays better than revisionism. Because influence is not something you declare, you build it. You build it through relationships, you build it through infrastructure, you build it through investment, you build it through alliances and partnerships that produce results. And above all, you build it by understanding where the world is going early enough to have a role in shaping where it arrives. And this is exactly what season 7 of Global Greek Influence is going to be about, going behind the headlines, beyond the news cycle, and into the forces, alliances, interests, and decisions that are already shaping what comes next. This was live one of the Global Greek Influence podcast pre launch. Season 7 starts on the 1st of September on Spotify and here on this YouTube channel. And we are starting exactly where Greece should be looking much more seriously, the Eastern Mediterranean.